the world is plunged into chaos. A massive volcano erupts in the heart of a city, spewing lava and ash into the sky as violet lightning cracks overhead. A lone helicopter flies near the disaster zone, hinting at a desperate escape. The scene shifts to a street-level view of the city. The sky is hazy with an orange glow from the distant fires. A road sign points towards various destinations, but the streets are eerily empty, suggesting a mass evacuation is underway. A public bus speeds down the highway, its headlights cutting through the gloom. It's one of the many vehicles hastily carrying people away from the disaster-stricken area. Inside, the bus is crammed with anxious people and their luggage. They are all refugees fleeing the city, their faces etched with worry. A young man stands near the door, quietly looking at his phone, a stark contrast to the palpable tension around him. Passengers murmur amongst themselves, sharing terrifying news. A man tells his female companion, Jiang Xiaoqian, about the recent underwater earthquake and the eruption of Mount Fuji that claimed tens of thousands of lives. Now their own city is being evacuated, and she worries they left with no supplies. The conversation escalates as another passenger chimes in with even more alarming news. He reveals that major warehouses in Jiangnan City have been completely emptied. Another man adds that a lake has dried up and yet another warehouse was emptied, with the total value of lost supplies estimated to be in the hundreds of billions. Jiang Xiaoqian is stunned by the news. A passenger corrects the previous estimate, exclaiming that the loss is not in the hundreds of billions, but in the tens of trillions, highlighting the sheer scale of the unfolding catastrophe. Amidst the rising panic, a young man named Su Chun, who has been sitting silently, finally speaks. With a calm and steady gaze, he tells them that the loss of supplies and the natural disasters are just the beginning. He delivers a chilling prophecy. The end of the world is coming. His statement is met with disbelief. Jiang Xiaoqian asks if he's being serious, while the man next to her scoffs, saying he actually looks forward to the apocalypse, believing it would be a great equalizer for all living beings. A dark, knowing expression crosses Su Chen's face. All living beings equal? He knows better. From the brutal memories of his past life, he knows that even in the apocalypse, there is no such thing as equality. The story begins with a chilling statement, hinting at a traumatic past. Our protagonist stands before a desolate, ruined city, a massive crater smoldering in the distance. He knows something others don't, because he has personally experienced the horrors of the apocalypse. A horrifying memory flashes before his eyes. A monstrous creature with countless teeth and a single, terrifying red eye, capable of swallowing dozens of people whole. This is a glimpse of the brutal world he came from. The scene shifts, revealing that in his past life, he was just an ordinary deliveryman. He stands in shock, the memories of the future clashing with his mundane present. He recalls how the apocalypse descended upon the world. An abnormal release of solar energy caused temperatures to soar and the Earth's crust to shift, unleashing terrifying monsters from the underground. The world was completely transformed. In this new world with its new brutal order, he had to fight desperately just to survive. It was a world of extreme scarcity. A single packet of instant noodles was enough to cause a frenzy, with crowds of starving people clawing at each other for a taste. Human dignity became a luxury few could afford. People were willing to trade anything for even a morsel of food, like a simple ham sausage. In order to survive, you had to be willing to give up everything, including your morals and self-respect. But he was given a second chance. He was reborn, sent back to 1 month before the start of that hellish apocalypse. As he's lost in thought, a woman's hand on his arm pulls him back to the present reality. A woman cozies up to him, feigning fear. But the man, his mind filled with the horrors of the future and memories of betrayal, is completely unfazed by her act. He coldly brushes her off, telling her he has more important things to do. He has no time for meaningless distractions, leaving the woman utterly stunned by his rejection. He walks away from the bus and the life he used to know. His steps are firm, filled with a new sense of purpose. He is a man on a mission. He asks himself a critical question, the one that will define his new life. In the apocalypse, what is the most important thing? The answer is simple and obvious to him now. As he looks up at the Mr. Hippo supermarket warehouse, he knows that the key to survival is supplies. He looks at his old delivery uniform. The name tag reads Su Chun. He remembers how he wasted so much time fruitlessly searching for supplies in his past life. This time, he vows, he must be prepared in advance. He arrives at his workplace, meekly apologizing to his manager for being a few seconds late, all while planning his next big move. Inside the warehouse, Su Chun smirks. In his last life, the boss fled when the apocalypse came, and his salary was lost. He decides these supplies will be his rightful compensation. With a glint in his eye, Su Chun decides to take everything. A strange blue energy begins to crackle around his feet as he prepares to unleash a hidden power. Su Chun unleashes his ability, a power from his new life. With the command Space Unfold, a massive wave of energy radiates from him, ready to absorb everything in the warehouse. A holographic interface appears, detecting all the goods around him, rice, cooking oil, meat, and begins to automatically store them into his personal dimension. The process is incredibly efficient. Rows upon rows of shelves packed with supplies begin to digitize and disappear as they are absorbed into his spatial storage. The warehouse is emptied at an astonishing rate. Pallets of goods and entire shelves are consumed by the swirling blue energy of his ability. Looking up at the towering stacks of inventory, the sheer scale of his heist is breathtaking. He is taking everything. Su-Chin revels in his power, explaining the mechanics of his spatial ability. By simply unfolding his space, he can absorb everything around him into a massive cubic storage that bends to his will, giving him absolute control over his hoard. This extraordinary ability provides the ultimate convenience for $0 shopping sprees. He recalls using this very power in his past life to drain entire freshwater lakes and plunder cities that were doomed to be destroyed, showcasing just how ruthless he can be to ensure his survival. He knows that in the coming apocalypse, even a simple packet of instant noodles will be a luxury, let alone fresh food. But inside his spatial dimension, time is frozen, meaning any food he stores will remain fresh forever. The thought brings tears of relief to his eyes. He is overwhelmed with emotion, crying out that he finally doesn't have to eat dirt to survive like he did in his previous, hellish life. After his brief emotional breakdown, Su-Chin dusts himself off, composing himself to continue with his mission. He pulls up the inventory of his latest haul. Hundreds of bags of rice, bottles of cooking oil, kilograms of produce, and cases of water, food, and other essentials. After collecting so many supplies, Su-Chin can finally breathe a sigh of relief. This is the foundation of his survival, a security he never had in his past life. Just then, the warehouse door swings open. It's his boss, yelling for help to move the goods out, completely unaware of what has just transpired. The manager and 2 other delivery workers step inside, their faces frozen in disbelief. The manager thinks he must be hallucinating. They stare into the vast, cavernous warehouse, which is now completely empty. Su-Chin stands alone in the middle of the floor, waiting for them. His colleagues, sputtering with rage, demand to know where everything from the warehouse went. Su-Chin calmly gestures, and with an infuriatingly casual tone he admits, "Oh, I took everything." His former co-workers can only stare back, utterly dumbfounded. The manager finally snaps, screaming, "You bastard, how did you do this? Catch him for me." The other 2 workers lunge forward, but Su-Chin is untouchable. With a smirk, he says, "Right, I won't be late anymore." In a flash of light, he teleports backward, easily dodging their clumsy attempt to grab him. He gives them a cheerful bye, as he vanishes completely, leaving his co-worker to stumble forward, grabbing at nothing but air. The manager sweats profusely, screaming, "Where is he?" His subordinates can only stammer in shock that Su-Chin simply disappeared. A flash of light appears on the building's exterior window as Su-Chin teleports outside. He emerges from the portal in an alleyway next to the warehouse, landing smoothly on his feet. His escape is flawless. With a smug grin, Su-Chin reveals his second ability, Space Jump, a power that allows him to teleport anywhere within a 3-meter radius. He muses on how useful this skill will be in the apocalypse. He can use it to loot abandoned buildings for supplies and escape safely, even saving his life from mutant beasts in critical moments. So, with these powers, he is ready to cast off his old life. He rips off his delivery jacket and tosses it into the air, triumphantly declaring, "Zero-cost shopping mission complete," while his former colleagues can only watch helplessly from the warehouse door. Just as he celebrates his victory, his phone buzzes in his pocket. It's an official government message, downplaying the ongoing disasters to prevent panic. Su-Chin scoffs, wondering if the authorities have any idea that the real end is coming. As he's lost in thought, his phone begins to ring, interrupting the brief moment of peace. The moment the caller's name appears, Su-Chen's expression twists into a mask of pure hatred, his eyes burning with the memory of a deep betrayal. It's Jiang Xiaoqian, the woman from the bus, and one of the 2 people directly responsible for his death in his past life. The sight of her name alone is enough to make the rage and pain from his past life boil over. Su-Chin takes a deep breath, steeling himself before answering the phone. He answers, and is immediately met with Jiang Xiaoqian's shrill voice. She berates him for trying to sell the house and insults him, questioning who would ever want him after he sold it. On her end, she's casually applying lipstick while another man lounges behind her. She tries to guilt-trip Su-Chin, questioning his responsibility and demanding he gift her the house so she can feel secure. Su-Chin is completely unfazed by her emotional manipulation, coldly asking if there's anything else. She flies into a rage, threatening to call off their marriage if he doesn't immediately transfer the ownership to her. He has no time for her games. He curtly tells her he'll be back in Xanadu and they can talk then, before abruptly hanging up the phone. After hanging up, the memories flood back. He thinks of Jiang Xiaoqian and the 5 years they spent together in the apocalypse. He had searched everywhere for supplies to feed her, even bringing her into a safe zone. Without him, she would have starved. But his kindness was met with the ultimate betrayal. The anger builds within him as he remembers what she did to him. A horrifying flashback reveals the truth of his last moments. A bloodied and beaten Su-Chin from his past life is held by his so-called brother, Wang Haoyu, who stabs him for failing to bring back enough supplies. As Su-Chin bleeds out on the floor, Wang Haoyu gets into bed with Zhang Xiaoqian, callously remarking that Su Qin is useless now and the two of them can finally be together. Zhang Xiaoqian shows no remorse. She tells Wang Haoyu not to worry, coldly stating that if Su Qin died, it was simply because he was incompetent. She then turns to Wang Haoyu with a seductive smile, telling him that whether he's incompetent or not will depend on his performance that night. Her betrayal is absolute. The memory of his past self, dying and alone, haunts him. He was truly wronged in his last life, having entrusted his back to such despicable people. Back in the present, Su Chen's hand curls into a fist. The memory fuels his resolve. This time, he vows, Wang Haoyu and Zhang Xiaoqian will pay the price for their betrayal. His eyes glow with an intense, purple rage. He swears that they won't get to die easily. The pain he tasted, he will make them experience it 100, even 1,000 times over. He clenches his fist tightly, the vow of vengeance hardening his heart. After composing himself, he shifts his focus back to the present. He has looted the warehouse, but there are still things that can only be bought with money. His next task is to secure cash. He immediately makes a call to a real estate agent, Manager Liu. He makes the agent a shocking offer. He's willing to sell his house at half price, but he has one very important condition. His voice is firm and unwavering. He wants cash, and he wants it now. In the face of the coming apocalypse, liquid assets are far more valuable than property. A taxi pulls up to Dream Real Estate. Su Qin has arrived to finalize the deal, but he's about to walk into an ambush. His betrayers, Zhang Xiaoqian and Wang Haoyu, are waiting for him. The moment he steps out of the car, Zhang Xiaoqian confronts him, demanding to know how long he was going to make her wait. Behind her, Wang Haoyu stands menacingly with a baseball bat. Su Qin completely ignores her pathetic display, coldly brushing past her with a single command. Move aside. Wang Haoyu, enraged by Su Chen's audacity, steps forward brandishing the bat. He threatens Su Chen, warning him he won't see the sun tomorrow if he dares to sell their house. Faced with Wang Haoyu's pathetic threat, Su Chen doesn't even flinch. He simply raises a hand, his eyes cold and devoid of emotion, as he prepares to demonstrate the true gap in their power. Before Wang Haoyu can even react, an invisible force clamps around his throat, choking the air from his lungs and lifting him helplessly off the ground. He claws at his neck, his struggles utterly futile against Su Chen's silent, telekinetic grip. With a flick of his wrist, Su Chen slams Wang Haoyu into the ground with bone-shattering force. Towering over his former friend, Su Chen coldly declares that he can handle his own property however he wants. This is no longer the man they knew. This is a ruthless survivor who will stop at nothing to get what he wants. In what appears to be a heated confrontation, a woman with pinkish hair, Zhang Xiaoqian, screams in terror, begging for help as Su Chen grabs her. Without a word, Su Chen violently shoves her away. Zhang Xiaoqian falls to the ground, looking up at him in complete shock and disbelief. Su Chen then turns his attention to another man, Wang Haoyu, effortlessly lifting him by the throat. Pinned to the ground, Wang Haoyu struggles for air, desperately pleading for him to let go. With a sinister smile and glowing eyes, Su Chen coldly informs Wang Haoyu that he won't be granted a quick death. He then releases his grip, letting Wang Haoyu fall to the floor, coughing and gasping for breath. As Su Chen turns his back to leave, Zhang Xiaoqian rushes over to a recovering Wang Haoyu, calling out his name in concern. Furious, she confronts Su Chen, demanding that he kneel and apologize, threatening that he can forget about marrying her otherwise. Su Chen simply turns his head, giving the stunned couple a look of complete annoyance. The two run off, shouting empty threats. Su Chen watches them go, dismissing them as worthless. The scene shifts. In an office, someone respectfully offers a cup of water to Mr. Su. An older, bald man, a real estate manager, cheerfully makes an offer to Su Chen to buy his house. The manager internally rejoices, thinking that this foolish guy is selling a house worth over $1 million for only $700,000. He sees a quick and easy profit. Su Chen sits calmly and agrees, with one condition. It must be a full payment today. The manager, ecstatic, immediately agrees to sign the contract and transfer the money. Su Chen says good, while thinking to himself that once the apocalypse hits, the manager can choose any house he likes, provided he's still alive to live in it. A notification on a phone screen confirms the transfer of 700,000 yuan to his bank account. Having sold his house, Su Chen walks outside, musing that while various disasters are happening far away, life here remains deceptively orderly. He passes a telephone pole and notices an advertisement for fast loans. He stops, considering the possibility. A high-interest loan could be a way to secure even more funds for his preparations. Wasting no time, he makes a call, asking if he can mortgage a property certificate with a loan company. The story pans to a view of the Hanhai International Apartment Building. At the Great Sea Loans Limited Company, someone off-screen remarks that the handsome man's house doesn't seem to be worth much. Inside, Su Chen calmly asks how much he can borrow. The person across the desk seems to recognize him. The man across the desk is Wang Dehai, the older brother of Wang Haoyu. Su Chen recalls from his past life that this man was eventually killed by mutant beasts. Unfazed, Su Chen listens as Wang Dehai makes an offer, a maximum loan of 500,000, provided Su-chin leaves the property certificate as collateral. But Su-chin pushes for more, demanding an additional 100,000 immediately. He slides the certificate across the table as a show of confidence, promising Wang Dehai that he'll make a profit and repay the entire sum within a single week. Wang Dehai sneers, thinking Su-chin is just a stupid gambler selling off his parents' assets to make a quick profit. However, he agrees that as long as the property certificate is mortgaged with them, everything is negotiable. The deal is struck. Su-chin receives another bank notification for a transfer of 600,000 yuan into his account. Elsewhere, Jiang Shaoqian complains about Su-chin, claiming she's just taking back her own house. Beside her, Wang Haoyu fumes, vowing to make Su-chin pay and threatening to have his big brother kill him. Suddenly, Jiang Shaoqian spots a familiar figure in the distance. She calls out to Wang Haoyu, asking if the person walking away is Su-chin. Wang Haoyu confirms it's him and wonders what he's doing there. Curious, they decide to follow him and see what he's been up to. Su-chin heads towards the Green City Hotel. He recalls from his past life that this was one of the few buildings that withstood the apocalyptic disasters, making it an ideal stronghold. As he walks towards the entrance, he thinks about using the place as a long-term base, noting that the presidential suite even has its own swimming pool. Stepping into the lavish hotel lobby, Su-chin observes that while many warehouses have been emptied, this place still has no shortage of ingredients and hot meals. A well-dressed woman approaches him, introducing herself as Lu Xinrui, the hotel's restaurant manager. Su-chin immediately makes a bold request. He wants to order a banquet for 1,000 tables. The manager is left speechless. Recovering quickly, Lu Xinrui enthusiastically lists their high-end menu options, ranging from 5,000 to 100,000 per table. She inwardly concludes that this young man must be a hidden, second-generation rich kid. Su-chin selects the 10,000 per table option, a total of 10 million. He offers to pay a 50,000 deposit and settle the balance a week after delivery, internally questioning if the hotel's standards justify the price. Lu Xinrui happily agrees to the 50,000 deposit. She calculates that the connections she can make through such a wealthy client are worth more than the cost of the ingredients, reminding herself that being smooth is key in business. As she processes the payment, she asks how she should address him. He simply replies, Su-chin. Making conversation, she asks if he's getting married. Su-chin confirms it's for a wedding, and also asks her to help him book a presidential suite. With the arrangements made, Su-chin confidently walks out of the hotel. He smiles to himself, pleased to have secured 10 million worth of food with just a 50,000 deposit. As for the final payment, he scoffs, knowing that in the post-apocalyptic world, even a single block of ice could be worth billions. Watching him leave, Lu Xinrui sighs dreamily, thinking that whoever marries such a man is truly fortunate to be getting the presidential suite for their honeymoon. Just then, Jiang Shaoqian and Wang Haoyu arrive. She approaches the manager and asks about the man who was just there, while Lu Xinrui politely asks who they are. Putting on an act, Jiang Shaoqian claims with a surprised expression, "He's called Su-chin, my boyfriend." The manager informs her that her boyfriend just ordered a banquet for 1,000 tables and paid a 50,000 deposit. She internally judges Jiang Shaoqian, wondering why wealthy men always fall for girls who are only a 7 at best. Jiang Shaoqian and Wang Haoyu are stunned into silence. They can't possibly believe that Su-chin could afford a 10 million banquet. The manager, amused, speculates that wealthy people often play games, hiding their true identity from their partners until the wedding day to ensure they aren't just after their money. This gives Jiang Shaoqian a new idea. She wonders aloud if Su-chin's recent disappearance and coldness are part of this pre-wedding test. Wang Haoyu, still skeptical, asks if that bootlicker Su-chin is really wealthy. "Of course," the manager exclaims, showing them the 50,000 yuan transfer on her phone as proof. The sight leaves both Jiang Shaoqian and Wang Haoyu completely flabbergasted. Outside the hotel, Wang Haoyu wonders who Su-chin could possibly be inviting to such a massive banquet. Jiang Shaoqian, now smiling and confident, believes it's his way of introducing her to his wealthy social circle. Wang Haoyu nervously asks what their next move should be. Grabbing his arm, Jiang Shaoqian declares that she must take the initiative and create an opportunity with the bootlicker Su-chin. She sinks into a daydream, imagining herself on a golden throne, lavished with attention. She can't believe this fantasy might become a reality, all thanks to Su-chin. Meanwhile, back in his room, Su-chin reviews his finances. He has sold his house and taken out a large loan, but after the deposit for the banquet, the remaining 800,000 yuan doesn't feel like much for his grand plans. A wicked grin spreads across his face as he looks at his phone. He thinks it would be a complete waste not to take advantage of online loans. He immediately begins a marathon of loan applications, downloading over 80 different apps and taking countless verification selfies for loans ranging from 30 to 30,000 yuan. After his tireless efforts, a bank notification shows his account balance has swelled to 977,000 yuan. He lets out a sigh of relief. He triumphantly flops onto his bed, celebrating the fact that he's managed to secure almost 1 million yuan in loans. However, his rest is short-lived. Knowing there's no time to waste, he springs back up, ready to continue his preparations. There are still many more things to buy. Scrolling on his phone, he searches for essential items that aren't readily available in supermarkets, like fireplaces, ice makers, and smokeless coal, noting that thankfully, they can be ordered online for fast delivery. He knows what's coming, a period of extreme heat followed by a devastating deep freeze. His survival hinges on having enough supplies to endure both. He immediately starts making calls. He finds a supplier for smokeless coal and, after confirming the price, orders 2,000 tons, agreeing to pay a 500,000 yuan deposit. His next call is to an ice factory. He states his intention to order ice blocks and agrees to come in for a face-to-face discussion. As Suchin leaves his building, a woman with short dark hair spots him from behind and calls out his name. It's Lena, a friend of Jiang Shaoqian. She cheerfully greets them, but Suchin internally scoffs, remembering her as the two-faced friend who badmouthed him while helping his ex-girlfriend take over his house. Suchin responds with cold sarcasm, asking Lena if she was missing him or simply missing his house. Lena quickly tries to de-escalate, telling Suchin that Jiang Shaoqian was only testing him before and chiding him for being clueless about how sad he made her. Playing along, Jiang Shaoqian clings to Suchin's arm, acting shy and apologetic. She asks him to accompany her for a walk, asking him not to be mad at her for how she acted yesterday. Suchin coldly pulls his arm away, telling her he's busy and that she can go for a stroll by herself. He turns and walks away, leaving her reaching for empty air. The two women are left stunned by his rejection. Lena questions his arrogant behavior, while Jiang Shaoqian can only watch as Suchin gets into a taxi. A woman named Lena leans into a car, urging her companion to hurry up and follow a man, claiming this is their final test. From inside the car, the protagonist, Suchin, arrives at the Manhwa ice factory, where the factory boss, Mr. Wu, is already waiting for him. Mr. Wu greets Suchin, surprised by how young he is. Without wasting time, Suchin gets straight to business, asking how long it would take to produce 2,000 tons of edible ice. Mr. Wu proudly boasts about his factory's efficiency, stating they can produce the 2,000 tons of ice in just 3 days for a total cost of 800,000 yuan. Suchin agrees to the terms without hesitation and immediately transfers a 100,000 yuan deposit, telling Mr. Wu to deliver the ice in 3 days. Mr. Wu is overjoyed by the quick and easy deal. Having received the payment, a curious Mr. Wu asks Suchin why he needs such a massive amount of ice, wondering if it's for a large-scale event. Suchin casually lies, claiming he plans to donate it all to a Lashan for charity. Mr. Wu is left completely dumbfounded by this unexpected answer. As Suchin drives away, Mr. Wu watches in amazement, impressed that this young man just settled an 800,000 yuan deal right at the entrance without a second thought. Just then, another car pulls up. Mr. Wu is puzzled, wondering who else could be there for business without making an appointment. It's Suchin's ex-fiancée, Jiang Shaoqian, along with her friend Lena. Jiang Shaoqian approaches Mr. Wu, claims Suchin is her fiancé, and asks what they were talking about. Confused by the fiancé claim, Mr. Wu replies that Suchin had just placed an order for 800,000 yuan worth of ice. Both Jiang Shaoqian and Lena are stunned speechless. 800,000 yuan for ice? They immediately conclude that Suchin must be a super-rich second-generation heir. Lena, still in disbelief, presses Mr. Wu, asking if Suchin mentioned what he was going to do with so much ice. Mr. Wu simply repeats the unbelievable story Suchin told him. He was donating it all to a Lashan for charity. The absurd explanation leaves Jiang Shaoqian and Lena completely baffled and irritated. Meanwhile, having secured another crucial resource, Suchin relaxes in his villa. His inner monologue reveals his plan. All the items have been purchased, and now it's time to enjoy the peace before the apocalypse. He treats himself to a meal at a fancy restaurant, reflecting on his past life. He recalls being so busy working that even going to a small cafe was a luxury he couldn't afford. He looks over the menu, noting the expensive dishes. It's a high-end restaurant where the average spending is in the 4 digits, a world away from his previous life. As he browses, he comes across a strange item on the menu, a question mark, with a price tag of 17,000 yuan. The waitress explains that it's a special dish personally crafted by the head chef of the Yahello music restaurant, with the specifics depending on the chef's inspiration. Intrigued, Suchin decides to order it. His thoughts drift back to his past life, recalling how at the beginning of the apocalypse, a strange force caused many creatures to mutate. He remembers reading about such things in an ancient book called the Shan Haijing. He vividly remembers a monstrous serpent that appeared amidst floods in his previous life, a creature that looked exactly like the one described in the Shan Haijing. He concludes that compared to calling it a mutation, he prefers to think of it as atavism, the reappearance of ancestral traits. Just then, a woman with striking pink hair walks by, carrying a dish. The woman with vibrant pink hair gracefully approaches his table. She introduces herself as Duanya, the head chef of the restaurant, and presents the special dish, explaining it was specially tailored for him based on his temperament. But as Suchin looks up at her, A chill runs down his spine. His eyes widen in disbelief and shock. He recognizes her from his past life, and a single, terrifying question echoes in his mind. Is it her? Su Chen's eyes widen in recognition. His memory flashes back to the horrors of the apocalypse. This woman is none other than Hell's chef, Duanya. In his last life, Duanya was a terrifying figure. She possessed a magical culinary skill that could turn decaying matter into mouth-watering food that no one could resist. However, those dishes were made using the mutation source from monstrous beasts, and eating them would lead to a certain, agonizing death. Back in the present, Duanya notices Su Chen's tense expression and teases him, asking if he's afraid she would poison the food. She introduces the dish as dual-faced life, a steak with two contrasting flavors of tuna fried in brown butter and deep fried in puff pastry. Su Chen takes a bite and has to admit the taste is incredible, well worth the high price. But his mind is filled with caution. He muses that while he wishes she could cook for him in the apocalypse, he can't forget that this woman could be deadly. The scene shifts to outside the restaurant, where Jiang Shaoqian and Li Na are waiting. Li Na complains about the mosquitoes, urging Jiang Shaoqian not to forget her once she marries into wealth. Jiang Shaoqian confidently declares her future as a rich wife. Later, Su Chen continues his pre-apocalypse tour of indulgence, arriving at the Ariaskan's bar, known as the most exclusive and expensive club in the city of Xanadu. He smirks, thinking about the bar's reputation. It's a place where even a rich kid who spent 2 million yuan couldn't get the top-tier service. He sits down, reflecting that after the apocalypse begins, such places of extravagance will cease to exist. He regretted not visiting a place like this in his past life, and he's here to rectify that. As he settles in, 3 women approach his table. One of them asks the handsome Su Chen why he isn't drinking and offers a toast. Another eagerly agrees to drink with her. Su Chen remains cool and composed, quietly sipping his drink as the women chatter around him. One of the women explains that her friend, Yunyun, is here for the first time. They brought her out to have some fun after her boyfriend cheated on her. Yunyun, clearly upset, vents about her scumbag ex who cheated with an older woman. She asks Su Chen about men's desires, to which he cryptically replies that reproductive desires are engraved in a real man's nature. She then defiantly chugs her entire glass of what Su Chen recognizes as neat wine, surprising him. Feeling bold from the alcohol, Yunyun leans over and asks Su Chen if he's single. Before he can properly respond, she sits on his lap, getting intimately close and asking if he's willing. At that exact moment, Jiang Shaoqian and Li Na enter the bar. Seeing Yunyun making a move, they cheer her on, thinking she's bravely moving on from her heartbreak. But then they get a clear look at the man Yunyun is with. Jiang Shaoqian freezes in anger, demanding to know what Su Chen is doing, while Li Na immediately assumes he's cheating. Su Chen, seizing the opportunity to provoke his ex, calmly tells Yunyun, "Come, let's go outside." Yunyun, caught up in the moment, is impressed by how manly he is. He takes her by the hand and leads her away from the couch, heading for the stairs. Furious, Jiang Shaoqian and Li Na rush after them, shouting for Su Chen to stop. Su Chen ignores their calls, leading Yunyun down a hallway and into a private room. He closes the door firmly behind them, shutting out the shouts from his ex-fiancée. Once inside, he pins a surprised Yunyun against the door. He apologizes, explaining that he was just using her to deal with the 2 women who were following him. Yunyun, blushing and flustered, shyly admits that this is her first time doing something so bold. Seeing her innocence, Su Chen's expression softens slightly, a hint of contemplation in his eyes. But instead of taking advantage of her, he gently flicks her on the forehead. He tells the drunken girl to wake up, shattering the tense atmosphere with a simple, non-threatening gesture. He then gives the flustered Yunyun a serious piece of advice. Don't go out for the next few days, and be sure to stock up on food at home. It's a cryptic warning, a small act of kindness for the innocent girl. As he opens the door to leave, he adds that lovesick people like her shouldn't come to places like this. He starts to say in the future, but then stops himself with a grim thought. There is no future. Su Chen closes the door behind him, thinking to himself that it's a waste to leave such a rare opportunity. However, his priorities are clear, and he has more important things to focus on than a one-night stand. He turns to leave, only to find Jiang Shaoqian and Li Na frantically pounding on the doors down the hallway, screaming his name. Su Chen sighs in frustration. With these 2 around, his chances for a peaceful night are completely ruined. The scene opens at a large warehouse, bustling with activity. Su Chen is directing movers who are unloading massive trucks. One of the workers asks where to place 20 large fireplaces, while another, leaning out of a truck, expresses concern that the ice they're delivering will melt since the warehouse isn't refrigerated. Unfazed, Su Chen instructs them to move the fireplaces and ice makers to the back and keep the entrance clear. As this happens, another truck arrives, announcing a delivery of coal. A crowd of onlookers has gathered nearby, gossiping about the strange sight. A man in the crowd points towards the warehouse and tells his companion, a woman with long pink hair named Xiao Qian, that Su Chen has rented the huge warehouse and is moving in a lot of large machines. Xiao Qian looks on with a puzzled expression, wondering what on earth Suchin is planning. Suddenly, another woman, Lina, points towards a different area with a shocked expression. She tells Xiao Qian to look, recognizing a full banquet setup arriving from the prestigious Green City Hotel, complete with chefs in uniform. Lina's excitement grows as she watches the hotel staff lay out a red carpet and arrange elegant dining tables. She excitedly speculates to Xiao Qian, "Do you think he might suddenly propose to you, and then guests will come from all directions?" Xiao Qian strikes a confident, smug pose. She scoffs, telling Lina that even if Suchin proposes, she might not accept. Playing hard to get, she tells Lina to accompany her so they can go see just how sincere he is. Xiao Qian approaches Suchin, who is taking off his jacket after overseeing the work. She demands to know what's going on with all the things he's buying. Suchin looks at her with a calm, almost detached expression. He simply asks, "Can you help me move things? I'll tell you after we're done." Xiao Qian's face contorts with anger and disbelief. "Move things," she scoffs. "Don't joke around. I'm going to become a rich lady. How could I possibly do such rough work?" Seeing her friend's hesitation, Lina quickly intervenes, whispering an idea. She suggests to Xiao Qian that this must be a test from Suchin to see if she qualifies to become a rich lady. Her expression immediately changes. Convinced by Lina's theory, Xiao Qian forces a cheerful smile and approaches a stack of boxes. "All right," she declares. "I'm not that kind of delicate woman." However, the reality of the work quickly hits her. She strains to lift a single heavy box, her face turning purple with effort. She grits her teeth, telling herself that to become a rich lady, she must be well-rounded. She believes that as long as she can withstand this test, Suchin will definitely marry her today. Seeing Xiao Qian's efforts, Lina also chimes in, offering to help brother Suchin. In her mind, however, she has her own agenda, thinking that as long as she shows a little effort, even if she can't become a rich lady herself, she can at least get a taste of the wealth. A close-up on Suchin reveals a cunning smirk. His inner monologue confirms his true intentions. Can't let the free labor go to waste. He calculates that moving thousands of tables of food, thousands of tons of ice, and all the other supplies would take a long time even for a professional team. As the sun sets, casting a warm glow over the warehouse, a triumphant cry is heard. "We finally finished moving. The hard labor has taken its toll." Xiao Qian is bent over, exhausted and sweating, her body aching. She complains that Suchin is too much, making them work from morning to evening without even a meal. She reaffirms her goal. "If I'm going to be a rich lady, I'll definitely make all his money mine." Lina is in even worse shape, collapsed on the dirty ground, her face bruised and tired. "This jerk actually made us move such heavy things," she complains. "Those ice blocks weigh over 100 pounds each." Despite their exhaustion, they're still clinging to the hope of a proposal. Xiao Qian, sweating and annoyed, asks, "The test is over. Shouldn't Suchin announce that I am the bride now? The wealthy guests should be appearing." Lina agrees, adding that the food is getting cold and that rich people are really strange. But Suchin pays them no mind. Instead, he turns to the actual delivery drivers and thanks them for their hard work, presenting them with a small token of his appreciation. The drivers are shocked as they feel the thickness of the red envelopes, realizing there must be at least 10,000 inside. Overjoyed by the unexpected generosity, the delivery drivers erupt in a massive cheer, bowing and shouting in unison, "Thank you, boss." After paying the drivers, Suchin finally turns his attention back to Xiao Qian, who has been waiting nervously by a doorway. She asks him if he has something else to tell her, fully expecting the long-awaited proposal. Suchin turns his back to her, his expression cold and distant. "Oh right," he says dismissively. "Thank you for helping with the work, but there's no pay. You can leave." Xiao Qian is left utterly speechless, her face frozen in shock. Refusing to believe what she just heard, Xiao Qian rushes after him. "You, don't joke around. You must have a surprise. Guests must be coming. Let's get married and live a good life," she pleads desperately. Suchin stops and looks at her with a mock-sympathetic expression. "Live a good life? I wish. But now, not only did I sell the house, but I also owe a ton of debt. Would you still be willing to be with me?" Lina is the first to snap, her face a mask of outrage. "Impossible," she screams, pointing accusingly. "You spent over 10 million on this banquet, tens of thousands in restaurant expenses, and all these supplies. How could you possibly be broke?" Suchin just smirks, leaning casually against a pallet of supplies. "Oh, you're talking about that," he says with a dismissive air. "I was just helping out a big boss who wanted to do a good deed. It's all for the Alasan Poverty Alleviation Project." He delivers the absurd lie with a completely straight face, letting the words hang in the stunned silence. Xiao Qian's face darkens, her eyes shadowed in fury as the reality of Suchin's words sinks in. "So you're saying?" She begins, her voice trembling with rage. Her suppressed anger explodes. "You jerk," she screams, lunging towards Suchin with her hands outstretched like claws. "You've been lying to me all along." With a calm and effortless movement, Suchin sidesteps her attack. "What did I lie to you about?" he asks coolly as she stumbles past him, completely losing her balance. Xiao Qian crashes to the ground in an undignified heap. Lying on the floor, she twists around and screams at him, her face contorted in a furious snarl. Su Chun, you scoundrel. You're not a second-generation rich at all. You can forget about marrying me. Su Chun looks down on her with utter contempt. Who cares about a gold digger like you? He retorts coldly. His insult hits its mark. Xiao Qian is left speechless, her eyes wide with shock and fury, her teeth clenched in a grimace of pure hatred. Li Na helps Xiao Qian to her feet. Shaking with anger, Xiao Qian points a trembling finger at Su Chun and vows. Bastard. Just you wait. I'll make you regret this. Li Na joins in, shouting. You're finished. You're totally finished. As the two women storm off, Su Chun watches them go with a look of pity. Idiots, he thinks to himself, standing at the entrance of his now full warehouse. In the apocalypse, you'll be the one regretting. With the freeloaders gone, Su Chun slides the heavy warehouse doors shut, securing them with a large metal bar. His preparations are now private. Standing before his mountain of hoarded goods, Su Chun takes a deep breath. Finally, he says with satisfaction, all the supplies and resources are ready. Now we just have to wait for the apocalypse to descend. Su Chun raises his hand, and a swirling vortex of blue cosmic energy envelopes him. He channels his unique power, declaring, Infinite storage. Open. Outside the warehouse, a series of booming sounds echo into the twilight sky as all the supplies from within are instantly absorbed into Su Chen's spatial storage, leaving the massive building completely empty once again. The scene shifts, transitioning to a view of the tall and brightly lit Green City Hotel against the starry night sky, the next stage for Su Chen's plans. Inside the hotel, Xiao Qian is now clinging to a new man, Wang Haoyu. With them is a large, imposing man in suspenders, who gestures grandly. Qian, he booms. In the future, follow Xiaoyu, and I promise you a good life. In Xanadu, my words still carry some weight. Wang Haoyu puts his arm around a blushing Xiao Qian. Qianer, Su Chen treated you like this. You should have dumped him a long time ago, and instead should have been with me, he says, before adding with a smirk. Well, I look forward to your performance. He pulls her closer, promising revenge. Qianer, don't worry. Later, let my big brother will take care of that guy, and also get revenge for you. Xiao Qian, though still annoyed, thinks to herself that Wang Haoyu isn't so bad, especially since his big brother is wealthy. It's much better than being with a bootlicker like Su Chen. As the group moves through the hotel, Xiao Qian suddenly freezes, her eyes wide with shock. There, sitting calmly at a table and eating a steak, is Su Chen. Su Chen, what are you doing here? She stammers in disbelief, while he casually remarks that this woman really isn't picky. Wang Haoyu immediately flies into a rage, pointing an accusatory finger at Su Chen. Big brother, he yells. It was this guy earlier. He laid hands on me. The large man, Wang Haoyu's big brother, turns to face Su Chen, who continues to eat his meal, unfazed. A sinister smile spreads across the big brother's face as he recognizes him. It's you, punk, he snarls. Flanked by his gang of thugs, the big brother approaches Su Chen's table, a cigarette dangling from his lips. I was planning to find you. I didn't expect you would dare to touch my little brother. You've got some nerve, he says menacingly. Wang Haoyu, confused, asks if his brother knows Su Chen. The big brother explains the connection to a stunned Wang Haoyu. This guy mortgaged his house to me before, borrowed 600,000. Tomorrow is the repayment day. A wicked grin spreads across Wang Haoyu's face as he realizes the opportunity. I see. Looks like we can settle old and new scores together. Watching from the sidelines, Xiao Qian and Li Na smirk with schadenfreude. He even dared to borrow money from Brother Hai. Xiao Qian says contemptuously. I'm afraid he won't be able to clear the debt in this lifetime. Luckily, I didn't get involved with him. Li Na adds, borrowing money like that, he really doesn't know his place. Su Chen finishes his bite, daintily wipes his mouth with a napkin, and lets out a weary sigh. Sigh. Can't even enjoy a good meal, he says, completely ignoring the thugs surrounding him. Brother Hai leans over the table, puffing smoke and using the debt as leverage. Kid, you have to repay the money by tomorrow at any cost, and here you are enjoying yourself. Do I look like a joke to you? But Su Chen coolly cuts him off mid-threat, stating, don't bother. Not even if you can arrange 600,000 by tonight. His cryptic defiance hangs in the air, momentarily stunning the thugs. Enraged by Su Chen's inexplicable arrogance, Wang Haoyu screams. He won't be able to get a damn thing. Big brother, don't waste time with him. Let's finish him. Goaded into action, the thugs surge forward, and the tense confrontation escalates, about to erupt into an all-out brawl right in the middle of the hotel restaurant. Just as the thugs are about to pounce, a woman in a hotel staff uniform rushes over, trying to de-escalate the situation. Guys, what's going on here? Let's talk it out, she says with a nervous smile. Brother Hai is not in a talking mood. He points a thumb at Su Chen and snarls at the manager. Talk it out? Fine, you make this guy kneel down and apologize to me and my brother, and then we can consider the matter settled. The manager turns to Su Chen with a worried expression, asking him what's going on. Su Chun, still seated calmly at his table, simply replies, "It's nothing, just a few pests." The insult sends Brother Hai over the edge. He slams his fist down on the table with a loud crash, his face twisted in pure rage. "Kid, I've been giving you face. Today you're finished. Even if the heavens come, it won't be able to help you," he bellows. But before he can act, a commanding voice cuts through the tension from the entrance. "What are you guys doing?" A new group has arrived, led by a tall, imposing man with a goatee and a sharp suit. The leader of the new group stands with his hands in his pockets, exuding an aura of pure menace. "Who allowed you to cause trouble here?" he asks, his voice low and dangerous. Brother Hai freezes, a sweat drop rolling down his face as he recognizes the newcomer. Su Chen, however, remains perfectly calm, his eyes fixed on the man. His internal monologue confirms the man's identity. Gao Chong. Brother Hai's aggressive demeanor instantly vanishes, replaced by fawning subservience. "Haha, Brother Chong, what are you doing here?" he says, bowing slightly. Gao Chong isn't amused. "I have important matters to attend to today. Don't cause trouble here, otherwise don't blame me for not giving face," he warns. Knowing he's completely outmatched, Brother Hai immediately backs down. He's aware that Gao Chong is a powerful and well-connected figure in the underworld, and getting on his bad side is a terrible idea. Yes, Brother Chong, you go ahead. I'll come to toast you later," he says, trying to save face. As Gao Chong passes, the scene flashes to Su Chen's knowledge from his past life. He sees visions of a post-apocalyptic world where Gao Chong, transformed and powerful, is known as the Skull Crusher, a major force in the city. Beside him stands a woman with glowing red eyes, the Hell's Chef, who is under his command. Su Chen's inner monologue continues, revealing his strategy. He remembers that the Green City Hotel was the first place to experience atavistic mutations, genetic throwbacks that grant incredible powers. He realizes this is the source of Gao Chong's future strength and smiles wryly. Now it seems that Gao Chong's ability to become a skull crusher is due to the early appearance of atavistic mutations here. In that case, sorry, he thinks. Gao Chong pauses, sensing Su Chen's intense gaze on him. He turns back slightly, a questioning hum on his lips, feeling that something is off about the young man. The camera closes in on Su Chen's eyes, which now glow with a faint, menacing purple light. He has made his decision. He will steal the source of Gao Chong's power for himself. Your opportunity, he thinks with grim determination, is mine now. Gao Chong gives Su Chen one last curious glance, noting his interesting glare, before dismissing him and continuing on his way, completely unaware that his destiny has just been targeted for theft. The scene transitions, following Gao Chong. We see only the elegant stride of a woman in black high heels entering a luxurious private room. Inside, Gao Chong presents the woman, who has striking pink hair, to a man only seen from behind. "Mr. Sun," Gao Chong says smoothly, "I've brought Miss Duanya as you requested." As he speaks, Mr. Sun begins pouring a glass of red wine, the atmosphere thick with unsavory intentions. The scene opens on a woman with pink hair, Duanya. She sits with a serious expression, wondering what a certain Mr. Sun wants to discuss with her. A man's voice cuts in, his hand holding a glass of red wine. He compliments Miss Duan's renowned beauty, expressing his pleasure at finally meeting her. The speaker is revealed to be Sun Debiao, a sleazy-looking man with a mustache. He raises his glass, inviting her to drink with a lecherous smile on his face. As he pushes the glass towards her, Duanya's eyes widen in shock. She notices something strange within the wine, realizing his ill intentions. The wine in the glass trembles, reflecting Duanya's internal turmoil and hesitation as she is pressured to drink the suspicious beverage. Meanwhile, in a high-rise apartment overlooking the city, the protagonist, Su Chun, recalls his past life. He remembers how he barely survived the extreme heat apocalypse by hiding in a basement with Zhang Xiaoqian. Taking a sip of wine, Su Chun reflects on the irony of the present. In this new life, he tried to ditch Zhang Xiaoqian, yet she unexpectedly followed him to this very city. A smirk plays on Su Chen's lips. He sees this as a golden opportunity to finally settle old scores with the woman who wronged him in his previous life. Elsewhere, by the hotel pool, two men are talking. One of them, Wang Haoyu, complains that it feels hotter at night than during the day. His friend agrees, suggesting they hit the pool to cool down and watch the girls in swimsuits. The two men share a lewd laugh, excited by the prospect of seeing women in swimsuits at the pool. Nearby, Zhang Xiaoqian and her friend Xiaoqian arrive in their swimwear. Xiaoqian comments on how unusually bright the moon is, almost like the sun. Suddenly, Wang Haoyu grabs Zhang Xiaoqian's hand, excitedly pointing towards the sky and asking if she saw it. He gazes at the large, glowing moon and makes a grand, cheesy declaration, comparing his love for her to the brightness of the moon. Holding her hands tightly, Wang Haoyu proclaims the moon as the witness to their love. Zhang Xiaoqian, however, looks uncomfortable and complains about the intense heat, wanting to get into the pool quickly. Watching the entire scene unfold from his window, Su Chen scoffs inwardly, thinking to himself that their so-called love is about to explode. Su Chen raises his glass of wine towards the ominous-looking moon. With chilling calmness, he welcomes the return of the apocalypse. As if on cue, the moon begins to glow an intense, blood-red color, rumbling as a catastrophic event starts to unfold. The terrifying red energy from the moon shines down on the people at the pool. Their eyes glow a deathly white as their bodies begin to change under the apocalyptic light. Chaos erupts. The people at the pool scream in agony as the moonlight burns their skin. They run in panic, trying to escape the unbearable heat. Inside, a group of men playing cards are oblivious to the chaos. One of them notices the sudden bright light outside, wondering if Wang Haoyu and the others are okay, while his friend dismisses it as them just flirting with girls. Suddenly, the glass doors shatter as Wang Haoyu and the others, their skin scorched red, burst into the room in a desperate attempt to escape the heat. The card players jump back in shock and horror, confused and terrified by the sudden intrusion and the horrifying state of their friends. The burning victims scream in agony, begging for help and crying out for water as the intense heat consumes them. In his delirium, Wang Haoyu's eyes land on a fish tank in the corner of the room. A desperate, primal scream escapes him as he shouts, "Water! There's water!" seeing it as their only salvation. Driven by the instinct to survive the fire searing their bodies, the entire group charges mindlessly towards the fish tank. They crash into it, toppling the entire structure and sending a wave of precious water spilling across the floor. The survivors of the burning moonlight frantically fight over the spilled water from the fish tank. As Wang Haoyu soaks in the water, he laughs maniacally, believing they are all coming back to life, while Jiang Xiaoqian and Xiaoqian desperately try to get some for themselves. Watching the chaos, Gao Chong's underlings are utterly bewildered. They look around for their leader, asking where Brother Hai is gone. Wang Haoyu, his face a mask of panic, also screams out, frantically searching for his missing brother. Just then, Brother Hai appears in the doorway, his body covered in horrific burns and steaming from the heat. He weakly begs for help before cursing Wang Haoyu and collapsing, as his men scream in terror. Meanwhile, the scene cuts back to the other room, where the chaos has not yet fully erupted. Sun Debiao turns to Duanya with a smug look, asking why she isn't drinking the wine he offered. Gao Chong attempts to intervene on Duanya's behalf. He politely tells Mr. Sun that a banquet has been prepared, hoping to distract him. Sun Debiao angrily rebuffs him, boasting that no one in the city of Xanadu would dare to refuse a drink from him. He snaps at Gao Chong, telling him to mind his own business. Duanya looks from Gao Chong to Sun Debiao, a cold realization dawning on her. She internally curses Gao Chong for setting her up in his attempt to curry favor with the powerful Sun Debiao. Her thoughts race as she assesses her dire situation. She knows Sun Debiao is a predator who thinks he's invincible, and today, she has become his target. Staring at the glass of wine, Duanya is certain that there is something wrong with it. She knows she absolutely cannot drink it, but feels trapped and wonders what she can possibly do to escape. Suddenly, the apocalyptic red light bursts through the windows, bathing the room in an eerie glow. The intense light blinds Sun Debiao and Gao Chong as they cry out in shock. Panic erupts as the heat intensifies. People scream in pain and confusion, with someone shouting for the curtains to be closed immediately to block out the searing light. Gao Chong, sweating and alarmed, tells Mr. Sun that something is seriously wrong. Sun Debiao, equally unsettled, suggests they head downstairs to investigate the commotion. Duanya suddenly feels her body go weak and limp. Whether from fear or the effects of the drugged wine, she finds herself paralyzed in the midst of the escalating crisis. In the hotel lobby, a staff member tries to placate the panicking crowd, but the wealthy guests refuse to listen, shouting that they have millions at stake and can't afford to wait for rescue. Gao Chong confers with his subordinate, Old Mao, who reports on the situation. The moon's sudden brightening caused the temperature to soar to 70 degrees Celsius, and news reports claim nearly 100 people have been injured already. Ignoring the pandemonium, Sun Debiao pulls out his phone and makes a call to a certain Minister Zhao, demanding someone be sent to pick him up from the hotel. He listens to the reply with growing frustration. After hanging up, Sun Debiao informs Gao Chong that the minister is preoccupied with ensuring there are no power issues and has no one available to send for them, admitting that the situation is tricky. Back in the room with the broken fish tank, Brother Hai groans in pain from his severe burns. His friends realize he needs to go to the hospital, but they question how they can possibly travel outside in the extreme heat. Despite his injuries, Brother Hai takes charge, grits his teeth against the pain, and announces that he will have their associate, Xiao Dao, drive over to pick them up. In the underground garage, Xiao Dao answers the call. He tells Brother Hai that he's in the garage and on his way, noting that it does seem a little hot. Xiao Dao pulls his van up the parking garage ramp, telling his friends on the phone to wait for him as he is coming to get them. As he emerges onto the street, Xiao Dao is blinded by the intense light. He stares in disbelief, wondering why it's as bright as daytime and feeling the unnatural temperature. Before he can process what is happening, the extreme heat radiating from the asphalt causes one of his van's tires to burst violently. In a chain reaction, all 4 of the van's tires explode from the intense heat, leaving the vehicle disabled on the road and stranding Xiao Dao in the middle of the unfolding apocalypse. Xiao Dao stumbles out of his van, looking at the blown tires in disbelief. He can't comprehend how the heat alone could have caused this, exclaiming about the crazy weather as the asphalt around his feet begins to steam. Panicking, Xiao Dao makes a frantic dash back the way he came. He screams into his phone to Brother Hai, telling him that all 4 tires have blown out and he can't get through, forcing him to turn back. As the soles of his shoes begin to melt on the scorching pavement, he shouts a final, desperate message into the phone, telling the group they have to figure it out themselves before the line cuts to static. With the soles of his shoes completely melted away, Xiao Dao loses his footing and trips, his phone flying out of his hand as he falls toward the burning road. He lands hard on the asphalt, his body immediately starting to cook on the superheated surface. He lies there, stunned and unable to move. The horrifying reality of the apocalypse is shown in a gruesome close-up of a victim's face, their skin blistered and their eyes turned ghostly white from the intense heat. With his last ounce of strength, Xiao Dao slams his hand against the melting road, letting out a final curse as he succumbs to the horrific heat. His face contorts in agony as the heat melts his skin. Nearby, his phone lies on the ground, the call to Brother Hai still active, broadcasting his final, horrifying moments. Back in the hotel room, the group, including a terrified Jiang Xiaoqian, listens to Xiao Dao's screams over the speakerphone. They all shriek in terror as they hear him die, realizing their last hope of rescue is gone. Brother Hai drops the phone in shock. The sounds of agony and static echo from the device before it falls silent, signaling the end of Xiao Dao. The phone lies abandoned on the floor, its screen still lit up with the contact named Brother Hai. It is a grim monument to their failed rescue and hopeless situation. The scene then cuts to a place of absolute peace and comfort. An air conditioner unit is shown, its display indicating that it's set to a chilly 16 degrees Celsius, maintaining a pleasant room temperature of 25.5 degrees. This is Su Chen's sanctuary, a vast, luxurious suite complete with its own pristine indoor swimming pool, a stark and chilling contrast to the burning hellscape just outside the walls. In the middle of this luxurious safe haven, Su Chen is seen tucked into a large, comfortable bed, completely isolated from the screams and suffering of the world. While the world outside burns and people die in agony, Su Chen, the man who knew this was coming, sleeps soundly and peacefully, without a care in the world. In a preview for the next episode, a desperate crowd of survivors is seen pleading with an unseen figure. They call him comrade, and begin to ask for something. The final shot reveals the figure to be Su Chen. His eyes glow with a cold, purple light as he points a gun directly at the viewer, interrupting the pleas with a chilling response. No, you don't want. The apocalypse begins with a terrifying heatwave. As the moon releases a sudden burst of intense heat, outdoor temperatures soar to a blistering 75 degrees, with the ground reaching 100. A man lies on the scorching pavement, a victim of the extreme conditions, his body succumbing to the heat. An emergency broadcast announces that the event has already caused nearly 100 casualties, urging everyone to stay indoors to prevent severe skin and respiratory burns. In the background, the city's power center stands vulnerable against the shimmering heat. The city's power grid, unable to cope with the unprecedented heat and demand, begins to fail. Electrical currents surge uncontrollably through the transformers at the power center. A massive explosion rips through the power station, sealing the city's fate. The electrical grid collapses, plunging everything and everyone into chaos. Elsewhere, in a hotel room, a man tries to make a call, but the line is dead. The screen shows the name Xiao Dao, but the number is unreachable. A large, brutish man, Gao Chong, looks at his phone and grimly concludes that Xiao Dao is gone. His subordinate informs him that all other rooms in the hotel are booked, and this is the last one available, meaning they'll have to share. The cramped hotel room is filled with a group of survivors. A woman with pink hair, Lin Yuqi, complains loudly, questioning how she can be expected to share a room with a man. Another woman agrees, insisting she needs her own space. Suddenly, the ceiling light flickers and goes out, plunging the room into darkness. Gao Chong, sweating and furious, erupts in anger. Darn it! What the heck is going on with this place? Why is there no electricity? One of Gao Chong's men explains that the air conditioning has stopped, and the indoor temperature is rapidly rising. He warns his boss that at over 40 degrees, they will suffocate if they remain in the room. Gao Chong grimly agrees they need to find a solution. A glint of cunning appears in Lin Yuqi's eyes. She remembers that her ex, Su Chun, has the presidential suite and suggests to the group that they can go and take it over, since it has a pool. Meanwhile, Su Chun is calmly floating in his private pool. He recalls from his past life that the city's electricity had hidden dangers due to improper maintenance. He knew that no matter how much manpower was invested, the city's power grid was doomed to explode. He enjoys the cool water, fully prepared for the catastrophe unfolding outside. As a result of the explosion, all users connected to the city's electricity were affected. Su Chen calmly dries his hand with a towel, completely unbothered. That's why he specifically chose a room with a pool. He steps out of the water, the very picture of calm and control in a world descending into chaos. But his preparations didn't stop there. He had also acquired several large, vertical air conditioners and large backup batteries, to ensure his room temperature remained perfectly controlled. To top it all off, he decides to add some ice as well, bringing massive crystal-clear blocks into the room for extra cooling. He sits back on his plush sofa, enjoying a glass of wine in the perfectly chilled room. Ah, much better, he sighs in contentment, a stark contrast to the suffering outside. With the temperature under control, he takes another sip of wine and realizes, I'm hungry. With a mere thought, he summons a feast from his infinite storage space. A spread of delicious food materializes before him: crab, dumplings, cakes, and more. He looks at the bowl of rice before him and thinks to himself, on the first day of the apocalypse, let's just have a simple breakfast. As he places a succulent piece of meat on his rice, he casually wonders when Gao Chong's opportunity will show up, hinting at a plan already in motion. Right on cue, a loud banging comes from the door. An angry voice shouts, Su Chun, open the door. I know you're inside. The door cracks open, and a visible wave of frigid air, thick with condensation, pours out into the sweltering hallway, stopping the angry crowd in their tracks. Gao Chong, who had been ready to break the door down, is stunned by the sudden cold. He stammers in disbelief. It's so cool in here. Before the realization hits him. What's this? Air conditioning. Su Chun stands calmly in the doorway, framed by the cold air pouring from his room. He looks at the desperate, sweating crowd and asks with chilling indifference, Do you guys need something? One of Gao Chong's men peers into the room, his eyes wide with disbelief. He shouts back to his boss, Ice. Big bro, there's ice. This room not only has a pool, but also electricity and food. The revelation whips the crowd into a frenzy. Lin Yuqi and others shout at Su Chun, calling him selfish for enjoying such luxury while they're about to roast outside. They demand he get out of the room, their desperation turning into aggressive entitlement. Gao Chong, covered in heat blisters, steps forward to intimidate Su Chun. He fabricates a lie, claiming Su Chun borrowed money from him and that he should give up the room as interest payment. Gao Chong threatens to throw him out and takes a decisive step forward, crossing the threshold into Su Chen's room. The moment Gao Chong's foot lands inside, Su Chen acts. With ruthless efficiency, he raises a pistol and fires a single shot directly into Gao Chong's advancing leg. Gao Chong looks down in stunned silence, a look of pure shock on his face as blood begins to stain his clothes. With the barrel of the gun still smoking, Su Chen delivers a cold, final warning. Take one more step forward, and you're dead. The crowd is paralyzed with terror. Their aggressive mob mentality instantly dissolves, replaced by the shocking realization that Su Chen has a gun and is not afraid to use it. Gao Chong, sweating from both the heat and the intense pain, grits his teeth and concedes. Su Chun, you even managed to get a gun. All right, you're tough. I give up. Lin Yuqi and the man beside her stare in wide-eyed horror, completely stunned by Su Chen's sudden and brutal act of violence. Su Chen lowers the still-smoking Colt M1911A1, a clear and undeniable symbol of his power and preparedness in this new world. The pain finally registers, and Gao Chong collapses onto the floor, screaming in agony and clutching his shattered leg while his companions watch in fear. Su Chen looks down on the writhing man and his terrified followers with utter contempt. Get lost. Why are you wasting time? Do you want to die? His eyes glowing with a faint, menacing light, Su Chen begins to count, giving them a final chance to flee. Now I'll count to 3, and you better disappear from my sight. 1, 2. Meanwhile, in the hotel lobby, another crisis is unfolding. A group of heavily tattooed thugs, led by Sun Debiao, confronts the hotel manager, furious that there is no food. The terrified manager explains that a few days ago, someone booked 1,000 tables for a banquet, completely depleting their ingredients. The resupply delivery that was scheduled for today never arrived due to the chaos. Sun Debiao, unimpressed by the excuse, pours a bottle of precious water over his head to cool down and commands the manager to bring all the remaining food and water up to him. The lobby descends into chaos as the desperate crowd argues amongst themselves. Some accuse others of hoarding, shouting that supplies should be shared, while others try to assert dominance, threatening anyone who challenges them. Suddenly, one of Gao Chong's men stumbles into the lobby, shouting for help and hysterically claiming that Su Chen is killing people upstairs. Sun Debiao's crew observes Gao Chong being helped away. One of the thugs notes that it's a gunshot wound, a rare injury, suggesting a powerful figure is residing upstairs. They check on the injured Gao Chong. Sensing a new opportunity to get what she wants, Lin Yuqi rushes towards the crowd in the lobby, shouting about Su Chen's room having electricity, air conditioning, and even a swimming pool. The desperate crowd is skeptical, questioning if she's telling the truth. But Lin Yuqi passionately insists that she saw it all with her own eyes. She embellishes her story, adding details of ice cubes, fried chicken, and alcohol, painting a picture of a paradise that fuels their envy and rage. It's like heaven, she exclaims. Her words have the desired effect. The crowd, incensed that Su Chen is enjoying comfort while they suffer, decides to storm his room. Sun Debiao watches the mob and coolly tells his men to go up and handle the situation, confident they can seize the resources for themselves. The new wave of people, led by Sun Debiao's men, arrives at Su Chen's door. They are immediately struck by the blissful wave of cold air. One man tries a civil approach, saying, "Young man, we have come here to discuss something with you." The crowd presses forward, their desperation mixed with awe. They try to appeal to his sense of morality, reminding him to respect his elders and be helpful. One child, however, has his eyes fixed on something else entirely and asks, "Fried chicken?" Indeed, inside the room sits a basket filled with golden fried chicken, fries, and onion rings, an unimaginable luxury in their current hellscape. Overwhelmed by hunger, the child loses all control and screams with primal desire, "Mom! Fried chicken! I want fried chicken!" Before anyone can react, the boy lunges forward, trying to rush into the room to get the food. In a shocking display of brutality, Suchin delivers a swift kick to the child's chest. The child is sent flying backward through the air, his parents screaming out his name in horror and disbelief. Suchin stands firm, his expression cold and his aura menacing. "Control your kids," he warns the crowd. "Otherwise, I don't mind helping you manage them." His merciless action turns the crowd's desperation into pure fury. "But he's just a kid," one person screams. Another points an accusing finger, branding him a murderer. The mob's sentiment is unanimous. Someone so cruel doesn't deserve to stay in such a luxurious room. The shouts to kick him out grow louder. Realizing he's alone, one man rallies the others. "He's alone, everyone charge. Go in." The entire mob surges forward, ready to overwhelm him with sheer numbers. But Suchin is faster. As the first man reaches him, Suchin lands a single powerful blow. The man's face registers shock as the force of the impact travels through him. The man is thrown backward as if hit by a truck, his body limp and unconscious before he even hits the ground. His two companions stare in stunned silence at their fallen comrade, knocked out cold from a single punch. They are frozen with fear, realizing they completely underestimated their opponent. Suchin raises his gun again, his eyes glowing with a purple light. He delivers his final, chilling ultimatum. "I may be alone, but you only have one life." The threat, backed by both skill and firepower, finally breaks the mob's will. Meanwhile, the consequences of being denied shelter become terrifyingly clear. Elsewhere in the hotel, one of the thugs who was with Gao Chong cries out for his big brother. Another of Gao Chong's men has died. The group laments leaving their brother, high outside. In the extreme heat, his untreated wounds have already started to rot, and with no medicine, his fate was sealed. One of the men, his face contorted with rage and grief, screams Suchen's name, blaming him entirely for the death of his friend. The desperation has turned into a thirst for vengeance. Realizing that force is useless, Lin Yuqi and Jiang Shaoqian switch tactics. Speaking into Suchen's security camera, Lin Yuqi attempts to appeal to their past relationship, asking if he's forgotten how much she loved him. The two women press themselves against each other suggestively. Lin Yuqi offers herself and her friend for the night, promising to do anything he wants if he just lets them in to cool off. To their surprise, Suchin appears at the door, a sly smile on his face. "Sisterly love sure runs deep," he says with mocking sincerity. "Then come in." His invitation hangs in the air, dripping with sarcasm and hidden menace. In the chaotic hotel lobby, two women, Lin Yuqi and Lina, look at Suchin with expressions of pure relief and adoration. Believing he is their savior, they exclaim how they knew he wouldn't abandon them, calling him a good person. Their moment of hope is shattered as an aggressive man from Gao Chong's group shoves past them, his face contorted with rage. He screams for everyone to get out of his way, declaring his intent to kill Suchin. Suchin remains perfectly calm. He raises a hand, his expression cold and detached as he makes a chilling proclamation to the desperate crowd. Before the thug can even process the warning, Suchin leaps into action, swinging a makeshift club with brutal force, adding the final, deadly word to his sentence. "Will die." The impact is devastating. The thug is sent flying backwards, along with Lin Yuqi and Lina, who are caught in the indiscriminate attack. His weapon slams into the ground, a clear and violent punctuation mark to his attack. With the immediate threat neutralized, Suchin coldly scans the terrified crowd and asks, "Anyone else?" The three who dared to approach now lie beaten on the floor. Their previous hope has turned into terror. Lina and Lin Yuqi, bruised and horrified, now insist they want nothing to do with going inside Suchen's room. With an icy glare that shows not a hint of pity, Suchin gives his final, dismissive order to the battered trio. "Then get lost." Meanwhile, in the hallway outside his sanctuary, the chaos of the apocalypse continues. A man desperately calls out for someone named Shaoqian as she is dragged away. From the safety of his suite, Suchin watches the desperate survivors outside. His expression is unreadable, observing the collapse of society with a detached gaze. He then reveals one of his trump cards, a fully automated, heavy-caliber turret. It's a clear message that his previous warning was not an empty threat. Trying to leave might be just as deadly as trying to enter. Suddenly, a new sound cuts through the despair. The distinct movement of heavy-duty tank treads signals an unexpected arrival. An armored vehicle, its tires modified into treads and its windows insulated, appears outside the hotel. The survivors erupt in excitement, believing it must be a rescue team. As the vehicle draws closer, the hopes of the trapped crowd soar. They are convinced that help has finally arrived and that they are about to be saved from the deadly heat. The vehicle doors open and several figures in full protective gear, armed with rifles, emerge. The crowd's belief is confirmed, and a collective cry of relief goes up. We're saved now. However, the lead soldier ignores the crowd's pleas. He steps forward with a specific objective, asking for one person in particular, academician Lu Zhonghua. An older man in the crowd identifies himself as the academician. The rescue team immediately moves to extract him, causing the rest of the survivors to protest in anger and disbelief, realizing the rescue isn't for all of them. The soldier attempts to placate the growing unrest, telling everyone to calm down. He informs them that a larger rescue operation will happen tomorrow morning and instructs them to make their own way to Silicon Valley Plaza, the nearest rescue point. The news of a future rescue brings joy and relief to most of the crowd. However, one man, the muscular enforcer Gao Chong, stares on with a grim and dissatisfied expression. Seeing his chance to escape slipping away, a large, wealthy man named Sun Debiao steps forward. He tries to use his status and money to bribe the soldier, demanding the insulated suits for himself so he can leave immediately. The soldier angrily grabs Sun Debiao, warning him not to obstruct their critical mission. In response, the furious Sun Debiao orders his underling, Gao Chong, to forget reasoning and simply snatch the suits by force. The soldier raises his rifle, preparing for a confrontation. He orders his team to get ready to retreat as Gao Chong and his men stand their ground, creating a tense standoff. Just as the situation is about to explode, Lin Yuqi, seeing an opportunity, rushes to the soldier. Pointing up towards Su Chen's suite, she frantically reports that there is a murderer living upstairs. The other survivors quickly join in, validating her claim. They tell the soldier that the man upstairs has a gun, has already killed people, and that he almost got them too. They collectively demand that the soldier dispense justice and not let the murderer go free. Faced with this new complication, one of the soldiers, a young man named Xiaofeng, makes a decision. He tells his superior not to worry, declaring he will stay behind to handle the situation while the main team evacuates the academician. A new confrontation is now set in motion. Up on his balcony, Su Chen holds a sniper rifle, his eyes fixed on the entrance. He anticipates the soldier's arrival, calmly stating his intention to see what this supposed hero is truly made of. Down below, Lin Yuqi watches with a wicked grin. Her eyes glow with greed as she fantasizes about the soldier killing Su Chen, leaving her free to take over his luxurious, air-conditioned suite and wait for the official rescue in comfort. The scene shifts to the silent, empty corridor leading to Su Chen's room. The quiet before the storm is palpable as footsteps echo, signaling the approach of the soldier, Xiaofeng. Xiaofeng moves cautiously along the corridor, his rifle at the ready. As a trained soldier, he advances carefully, aware that he is walking into a potential hostile situation. As he gets closer, his eyes widen. Something has caught him completely by surprise, a detail that doesn't fit the picture of a simple murderer. He spots it, a small, spherical camera with a glowing red light, cleverly hidden among the leaves of a potted plant. He immediately realizes he is being watched. Just as he processes the surveillance, the door to the suite creaks open just a crack. It's a clear invitation, or perhaps a trap. Before Xiaofeng can react, a small, cylindrical object is tossed out from the room, clattering on the floor right at his feet. The soldier looks down in shock, years of training screaming at him about the imminent danger. But it's already too late. The device erupts in a blinding flash of light, completely overwhelming Xiaofeng's senses. As the flash subsides, a thick smoke billows out. Xiaofeng recognizes the sound and the irritating sensation instantly. It's a tear gas grenade. His eyes stream with tears, and he begins coughing violently, completely incapacitated by the unexpected tactical assault. Blinded and choking, Xiaofeng senses a shadowy figure looming over him, wielding a bat. He realizes the situation is bad and that he needs to retreat, but he's in no condition to fight back. The last thing he sees is the blunt object swinging down towards his head before everything goes black. Xiaofeng's consciousness returns in a blur. His eyes sting, and his first sensation is one of overwhelming coolness. It's a shocking contrast to the deadly heat outside. As his vision clears, he finds himself inside the suite. Su Chen stands before him, casually holding a drink and a rifle. He calmly introduces himself as Lu Xiaofeng, deputy captain of the Special Forces, and states that now that he's awake, it's time for a talk. Xiaofeng finds himself tied to a chair, stripped to his shorts. He is surrounded by 2 massive blocks of ice, and the room is comfortably cool. He stares in disbelief, demanding to know who Su Chen is and how a civilian came to possess air conditioning, ice, and military-grade weapons. Su Chen gives a ridiculously casual reply, claiming he's just a recent graduate who picked up the guns on a trip to the Middle East. Xiaofeng scoffs at the blatant lie, but Su Chen simply shrugs, saying there's nothing he can do if he isn't believed. Changing the subject completely, Su Chen asks a pointed and highly specific question: whether the government has set up rescue points for citizens to go to tomorrow morning. Xiaofeng is utterly stunned into silence. That information is classified. His mind reels as he blurts out the question that's burning in his mind. How did you know about that? Suchin thinks to himself, confirming that his knowledge comes from his past life. He knows that despite the temperature drop, the moonlight is still lethal, and many people will die on their way to the rescue points, a grim detail the government hasn't foreseen. Defeated, Xiaofeng admits the government has no choice but to have people risk the journey. Then, as if grasping at straws, he suggests a survival tip, using thick blankets and heavy coats for insulation to increase the survival rate. Xiaofeng looks up in shock, as Suchin nonchalantly confirms his theory is correct. The fact that this civilian knows a life-saving detail that even the military hadn't considered sends a chill down the soldier's spine. As Xiaofeng tries to process how this man knows so much, his train of thought is brutally interrupted. He feels the cold, hard press of a pistol against the back of his head, and his blood runs cold. Convinced he is about to die, Xiaofeng's survival instinct gives way to his duty as a soldier. He makes a final plea, begging Suchin to let him radio his team about the life-saving blanket trick before pulling the trigger, promising he won't call for backup. Instead of a gunshot, Xiaofeng hears the quiet slicing of a knife. The ropes binding his wrists are cut. Suchin lowers the gun. Xiaofeng is free, but utterly bewildered by this turn of events. He stares, confused, trying to understand his captor's motives. Suchin explains that while he respects Xiaofeng's duty as a soldier and won't kill him this time, he won't tolerate further provocations. Undaunted, Xiaofeng questions if Suchin isn't afraid of him calling for backup after he leaves. A confident smirk plays on Suchin's lips. He simply tells the soldier to look up and see the answer for himself. Xiaofeng's gaze follows to the ceiling, where he sees the automated turret he'd glimpsed on the monitor. He recognizes its advanced capabilities, facial recognition cameras and machine guns, and is once again left speechless, wondering where this man acquired such technology. Suchin nonchalantly repeats his lie about getting it from the Middle East, then delivers his final, chilling threat. Once that turret activates, no one in the room besides himself will survive. He lowers his gun, adding that in the current apocalyptic situation, Xiaofeng likely doesn't have the time or resources to deal with him anyway. The soldier finally concedes defeat. Rubbing his freed wrists, he acknowledges the truth in Suchin's words. He has lost. The survivors outside watch in confusion as Xiaofeng leaves the hotel and gets into the vehicle. They question why the soldier left so quickly without arresting the murderer. Someone points out that his guns have been confiscated, leading them to a terrifying conclusion. The man upstairs is so powerful that even a fully armed Special Forces soldier couldn't handle him. Meanwhile, the powerful businessman's son Debiao seethes with rage, furious that the opportunity to escape has slipped through his fingers. He takes his anger out on his own men, viciously beating one of them for failing to act, and seized the insulated suits from the soldiers when they had the chance. After kicking his men away, he storms off. One of the bruised thugs asks their leader, Gao Chong, how long they must tolerate Suchin. Gao Chong, ever the pragmatist, insists they must lay low until the authorities restore order, at which point he can use his connections. Observing this exchange from his monitors, Suchin lets out a dark, contemptuous laugh. The idea that Gao Chong still dreams of restoring the old world's order in this new, chaotic reality is laughable to him. Just then, Suchin himself appears at the bottom of the stairs, taking the thugs by surprise. One of them immediately gets aggressive, threatening to kill the little punk. But Gao Chong quickly holds him back. Gao Chong looks at Suchin with a mixture of surprise and suspicion. He cautiously asks why Suchin has decided to come downstairs and face them. With a confident smirk, Suchin walks to a table and casually pours out a bucket full of sparkling ice cubes. He looks directly at Gao Chong and announces that he's there to make a deal. Gao Chong and his men stare at the pile of ice, their eyes wide with disbelief and intense desire. In the scorching hellscape the world has become, this simple luxury is the most valuable treasure imaginable. In the sweltering heat of the apocalypse, desperation boils over. One of the thugs, his face contorted with greed and heat exhaustion, realizes that the man in the other room has ice cubes. His immediate thought is not just of relief, but of murder and robbery. However, his violent ambitions are cut short. The protagonist, Suchin, appears calm and collected. He effortlessly disarms the situation, pointing a modern assault rifle at the thug, who instantly throws his hands up in surrender. The leader of the group, a man named Gao Chong, quickly tries to smooth things over. With a strained smile, he dismisses his subordinate's outburst and attempts to begin a negotiation with Suchin, hoping to trade for the precious ice. The moment Gao Chong's men get a taste of the ice, they are overwhelmed with relief and awe. The intense, life-threatening heat has made a simple ice cube the most valuable treasure in the world. As they savor the coolness, their true intentions are revealed. They've been trapped for 3 days, and the taste of relief fuels their greed. They whisper amongst themselves, agreeing to Suchin's demands for now, but secretly plotting to kill him and take everything once the opportunity arises. The fragile alliance immediately shatters. One of the thugs, his eyes glowing red with rage, discovers that his leader, Gao Chong, was secretly hoarding some of the ice for himself. He viciously kicks Gao Chong, accusing him of his sneaky betrayal. The thug continues his brutal assault, stomping on Gao Chong's hand. He threatens him, making it clear that if he ever holds out on the group again, he will be killed. A close-up shows the attacker's face, consumed by pure fury, his eyes glowing menacingly, symbolizing the complete breakdown of order and loyalty within the group. Meanwhile, in another part of the building, a different group of survivors is also suffering. A burly man with a large mustache, Sun Debiao, savors an ice cube while a young woman with pink hair sits dejectedly, lamenting that they have run out of food and will soon starve. Sun Debiao turns his attention to the pink-haired woman, Jiang Xiaoqian, mocking her for remaining fully dressed despite the oppressive heat. His mockery turns into a threat as he grabs her wrist, declaring that he's in the mood to play, and orders her to come with him. Jiang Xiaoqian reacts with fury, trying to pull her arm away and telling the bastard not to touch her. Her defiance only enrages Sun Debiao. He crudely declares he'll have his way with her right there and then, and that his men can have a turn afterwards. As he speaks, his grip tightens, and her clothes begin to tear under the force, exposing her shoulder and chest. A voice cuts through the tension, telling Sun Debiao that he's gone far enough. From the shadows, a figure with glowing red eyes watches, intervening in the assault. Startled and enraged, Sun Debiao whirls around, shouting at Gao Chong to shut his mouth, questioning if he even knows who he's talking to. The power dynamics are clearly shifting. Sun Debiao's face contorts in a furious snarl as he prepares to lash out at the person who dared to challenge him. Just as suddenly, the chaos escalates. Another man, covered in tattoos, has apparently taken matters into his own hands, incapacitating one of the thugs. He stands over the fallen body, agreeing with Su Chen's earlier sentiment that since it's already chaos, they might as well embrace it. The tattooed man, having asserted his dominance through violence, declares that the place is now under his command. He gives everyone an ultimatum. Either head to the designated rescue point or die here. From a balcony above, Su Chen quietly observes the violent power struggle unfolding below. In the foreground, Jiang Xiaoqian looks on, her expression tense and worried. Su Chen reflects on the events with a chilling detachment. He muses that his words have accelerated the inevitable, revealing his knowledge from a past life. He knows that Jiang Xiaoqian was the original boss of this group. His thoughts drift to the two thugs he encountered earlier, now lying dead on the floor. He wonders if their opportunity to seize power will now come sooner in this altered timeline. The scene shifts to a simple shot of the ceiling, a quiet moment of transition amidst the chaos and bloodshed. The scene shifts to show just how desperate the situation is for others. Two women, completely drenched in sweat, are on their knees begging for the ice cubes they've heard about, pleading that they will do anything for just a taste. The source of that desperation is revealed to be Su Chen, who is watching them from above. He calmly pours a large amount of precious, clean water over his head, a display of the immense wealth and power he holds in this sweltering new world. Seeing the women's desperation, Su Chen makes his offer. He drops a large bottle of precious water, telling them that if they want it, they must follow him and do whatever he wants. The women reach for it, desperate. Meanwhile, the new tattooed leader addresses his group. When asked about the rescue point, he declares that in this doomsday, survival depends on oneself. As he speaks, the two women who received the water are already on the floor, fighting over the bottle, showing how quickly desperation erodes any sense of unity. The new leader discusses his plan with a long-haired thug. He reveals his cynical strategy. He's taking the other survivors along not out of kindness, but because he needs them as cannon fodder, a plan he mockingly attributes to Su Chen. The clock strikes midnight. A new day begins, marking a grim turning point for the survivors. The two women, wrapped in makeshift blankets to shield themselves from the sun, prepare to leave. They express their relief at finally leaving the hotel and dream of the food they'll eat once they reach the rescue point, unaware of the horrors that await. Their departure is interrupted by the long-haired thug. He blocks their path, angrily questioning why they're trying to leave after their big brother gave them all the ice water, calling it unfair. His anger turns to aggression. He reminds one of the women that she promised she would do anything, then violently rips her leggings as she screams in terror. The group finally steps outside. Shielded by white blankets against the blinding sun, they begin their perilous journey, already complaining that Gao Chong's hoarding has left them without food or water. The grim reality of their choice sets in. Staying in the hotel meant certain death from thirst, but the trek to the rescue point is only a slim, desperate chance at survival. The survivors are immediately hit by the hellish conditions. The heat outside is far more intense than they ever imagined. Even with boards tied to their shoes for protection, the scorching heat from the cracked pavement is unbearable. A close-up shows their crude footwear failing. The intense heat from the ground begins to char and burn through the wooden planks strapped to their shoes. The inevitable happens. One of the survivors collapses, their face a mask of pure horror as the deadly heat overwhelms them. In a gruesome spectacle, the fallen survivor begins to melt. Their flesh liquefies under the extreme temperature, turning into a grotesque, steaming puddle on the asphalt as another survivor watches in utter horror. The melting victim reaches out a dissolving hand, pleading for help as the rest of the group flees, abandoning them to their horrifying fate. The brutal calculus of the apocalypse is laid bare. With one person screaming and melting behind them, the only instinct is to run. There is no time to worry about others, not even family, when your own life is on the line. The narrative voice is cold and clear. In the apocalypse, the first and only rule is to survive. The scene cuts back to the bodies of the two thugs who died earlier, their skin now scorched and cracked by the heat, foreshadowing a terrible transformation. The horror begins. The eyes of one of the dead thugs snap open, now glowing with a malevolent, bright red light. Watching from his balcony, Suchin recalls his past life. He made this same journey, and despite it being only a kilometer, the casualties were immense. Below, one of the women he gave water to calls up to him, her voice filled with panic. Terrified, the two women and the long-haired thug huddle together. They urge the thug to go back inside with them, but he refuses. The thug laughs maniacally at their fear, mockingly asking if they're afraid of ghosts in this devastated cityscape. Suddenly, a monstrous red hand with sharp, black claws smashes through the window of a nearby car. The source of the horror is revealed. The two thugs who died earlier have reanimated, their bodies burnt and mutated, their eyes glowing red. They have become drought demons. One of the new leader's men recoils in terror, screaming that the creatures are zombies. The tattooed leader and his men look on in horror. As the creatures get closer, they're paralyzed by a terrifying question. What will happen if those things get their hands on them? Never one to risk his own skin, the tattooed leader acts with brutal decisiveness. He grabs the nearest subordinate by the neck and shoves him directly into the path of the monsters, yelling, "Why don't you go and find out?" and using his own man as live bait. The thug who was pushed forward is immediately seized by one of the drought demons. He screams in agony, not from a bite, but from the searing heat radiating from the monster's body, which begins to burn him on contact. As he's being burned alive, the subordinate grabs his boss, the tattooed leader. The leader recoils, shocked and alarmed by the impossibly high body temperature of his own man. Amidst the chaos and screaming, a figure calmly walks onto the scene, his steps steady and unafraid. It is Suchin. Wielding a large sword, he steps in front of the terrified thugs and tells them to move aside, positioning himself to confront the two drought demons head-on. The long-haired thug looks on in utter disbelief, wondering if this newcomer seriously intends to fight those monstrous things by himself. The tattooed leader, however, sees a wicked opportunity. A sinister smile crosses his face as he decides on a new plan. Let Suchin fight and hopefully weaken the demons, and then they will kill Suchin and claim all of his resources. Suchin, unfazed by the threat, begins to lecture the ignorant thugs. He explains that in this apocalypse, corpses exposed to sunlight mutate. They aren't zombies and won't spread a virus, but are more like the drought demons from ancient mythology. He coolly concludes his explanation, stating that this is why he refers to them as drought demons. His knowledge and composure stand in stark contrast to the panic and brutality of the other survivors. With the explanation over, Suchin takes his stance, sword held ready, as he prepares to battle the two monstrous, superheated creatures. He then reveals one last, unsettling piece of information from his past life. These drought demons aren't mindless beasts. They actually retain some memories or attachments from their previous lives, making them an even more unpredictable and dangerous foe. Suchin recalls the events of his past life. A man he recognizes was killed by Gao Chong, and the lingering resentment turned him into a drought demon. Before him stands another such creature. He recognizes the monster as Wang Dahai, who became a drought demon because Suchin had killed him. This is a reunion fueled by past life hatred. So, Suchin thinks to himself, this is the opportunity that should have belonged to Gao Chong. He decides to seize it for himself and lunges forward. With determined eyes, he closes the distance, ready to steal the kill and whatever power comes with it. This is his chance to get ahead. As he leaps into the air, sword raised high above the roaring Wang Dahai, Suchin declares that Gao Chong's opportunity is now here for the taking. From the defeated demon, a glowing purple crystal nucleus emerges. Suchin immediately recognizes it as the source of a superhuman physique. The drought demon roars in fury, but it's too late. Suchin smirks, declaring that the crystal nucleus now belongs to him. He leaps away from the battle, leaving the remaining thugs to deal with the enraged and still dangerous drought demon. The rest is up to you guys, he says mockingly. As Suchin casually walks away, wishing them fun, Gao Chong can only watch in fury, gritting his teeth as he's left to clean up the mess. One of the thugs grabs a weakened survivor, yelling at the useless trash to get up and fight. Panic and chaos erupt among the thugs as they are overwhelmed by the ferocious power of the drought demon. One of them screams in desperation, ordering the others to grab their weapons and kill the monster that Suchin left for them. Back in the safety of his room, Suchin explains that in the apocalypse, these rare crystal nuclei can occasionally be found in the skulls of drought demons and mutant beasts. He recalls the method for absorption. Clean the crystal nucleus thoroughly, then swallow it directly. Without hesitation, Suchin drinks the concoction, swallowing the crystal whole. Just by doing that, his body can absorb the energy from the crystal nucleus. His eyes begin to glow with a menacing red light. An agonizing scream escapes his lips as his body is racked with pain. The power surges through him, transforming his very being. He continues to scream, his face contorted in agony as the transformation intensifies, his body breaking down and rebuilding itself. Finally, the process completes, and he collapses to the ground, unconscious but fundamentally changed. Meanwhile, back with the thugs, their situation is dire. The drought demon has knocked over their supplies, and their last water source is now gone. One of the thugs grabs a woman by the leg, threatening to chop off her legs if she tries to run. The captive woman, Lena, cries out to the leader, Brother Dao. In her desperation, she offers to reveal a way to deal with Su Chun if they let her go to the rescue point. Lena reveals her plan. Zhang Xiaoqian is Su Chen's fiancé. If they attack her at his doorstep, he will open the door, allowing them to ambush him. Zhang Xiaoqian stares in horror at the betrayal. Brother Dao agrees to cooperate, but makes a primal demand first. He is hungry and wants meat. Zhang Xiaoqian retorts that the meat in the fridge is long spoiled, questioning his sanity. The word meat echoes with a dark implication. As Sun Debiao smirks, his twisted thoughts become clear. In a world without food, the definition of meat has become terrifyingly broad. Sun Debiao hands a knife to Zhang Xiaoqian, telling her that the choice of what meat they will eat is up to her, all while her supposed friend Lena is held captive. The horrifying implication dawns on Zhang Xiaoqian. Her eyes widen in terror as she realizes they intend to commit cannibalism. A tense silence falls as Zhang Xiaoqian stares at Lena, her mind racing in the face of an impossible choice. Her hand closes around the handle of the large kitchen knife. A decision has been made. With a firm grip, she readies the weapon, her knuckles white with tension. But in a shocking twist, she turns not on Lena, but on her own sister, who pleads with her, crying out that they are family. Zhang Xiaoqian coldly asks what she's planning. With her eyes glowing a demonic red, Zhang Xiaoqian scoffs at the idea of them being sisters. She reminds the girl that just moments ago, she had suggested using her as bait. Betrayal is met with betrayal. Zhang Xiaoqian raises the knife, her expression twisted with rage and madness. She lunges forward, stabbing her own sister and screaming that she has no one to blame but herself for this outcome. Brother Dao and Sun Debiao look on, stunned into silence by the brutal display of sororicide. Zhang Xiaoqian laughs, placing the blame squarely on her victim. She stands over the fresh corpse, laughing maniacally as she descends completely into madness. Her face contorts into a terrifying grin as she threatens her next target, Su Chun. She vows that once she is full, she will come for him and drink his blood. Sun Debiao, recovering from the shock, orders his men to let Zhang Xiaoqian cook the meat. He reasons that they need the strength to deal with Su Chun and reminds them that without water, they won't survive another day. Brother Dao, though visibly disturbed, grits his teeth and accepts the grim reality of their situation. But when he turns around, he finds that Zhang Xiaoqian has vanished. He frantically screams for his men to find her. Back with Su Chun, the power of the crystal nucleus fully awakens. His eyes flare with a brilliant, fiery energy. He crouches, feeling the raw power surging through every fiber of his being, his body outlined in a powerful aura. Standing up, Su Chun assesses his new physique-type ability. The glowing lines of energy across his torso are a testament to his transformation, and he can already feel his heat resistance has dramatically improved. He clenches his fist, a shockwave of power emanating from the strike. His muscles and strength have increased exponentially. Just as he's getting used to his new body, his security monitor flickers to life. He's surprised to see he has a visitor, the pink-haired woman from downstairs. Zhang Xiaoqian has arrived at Su Chen's door, seeing it as her only hope. Convinced that she still has some leverage, she prepares to make her plea. Su Chen opens the door, his newly transformed and half-naked body revealed. He calmly asks the startled woman if everything is okay. Stunned by his appearance and physique, Zhang Xiaoqian can only blush and stammer, completely caught off guard. Flustered by his sudden appearance and state of undress, she instinctively calls him a scoundrel and retreats down the hall, shouting an apology. However, the panicked flight from her only safe haven is a mistake she cannot afford to make. Su Chen coughs, watching her go and contemplating the awkward situation. He reminds himself that resources are limited, and he can't take someone in just for being pretty. He recalls from his past life that this woman, Duanya, is strong-willed and even worked with Gao Chong, making him wary of her intentions despite the clumsy introduction. Realizing her mistake, Zhang Xiaoqian composes herself and returns to make a proper case. She lists her valuable skills. She is a chef, and also an outstanding graduate from a medical university with 3 years of experience as a surgeon. She knows she must prove her worth to stay in a place with such precious resources as ice and electricity. Su Chen admits that having a doctor is an enticing offer, but reminds her that resources are scarce. Seeing her chance slipping away, Zhang Xiaoqian becomes desperate, promising she will do anything as long as he doesn't kick her out of the building. Hearing her promise to do anything, Su Chen's expression softens into a seemingly friendly smile. He welcomes Miss Duan, and tells her to consider this place her home. Zhang Xiaoqian is immediately flustered, realizing she may have spoken too hastily. But his friendly demeanor vanishes as quickly as it appeared. He gives her a cold, serious warning. Her only choice is to behave herself. There will be consequences if she has any ulterior motives. Jiang Shaoqian submits to his authority. She looks away, acknowledging that she understands and never doubts his methods or his fierce determination. With their agreement sealed, Su Chen's eyes glow with a menacing purple light. He gives his first shocking command. Very well. Now take off your clothes. Completely stunned and horrified, Jiang Shaoqian stands frozen as her clothes appear to rip. Blushing and confused by the terrifying command, she meekly asks if it is time to start. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and turn on the bell for more awesome stories.